Hello everybody and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering arena video. Today, for those who watched the channel for a while, I used to run a deck called Modify Then Destroy, which I played back in, I can't even remember what standard it was, a while back when Kodama first came out, so it must have been Kamigawa standard. And I have now I'm releasing an updated version of that list called Modify and BUSTIFY. It is BUSTIFY for two reasons. One, this deck is relatively busted in terms of it is really strong. And two, we are running the Reckoner Bankbuster. A few days ago even, I ran a Simic deck using Kodama and Bankbuster to draw more cards, i.e. the combination is we put Bankbuster down on turn 2, we then play Kodama on turn 3, Kodama can power up, or crew, sorry, Bankbuster, which can then attack as a 4/4 trampler on turn 3 and draw us lands if it connects. So unless the opponent removes one of these two, on turn 3 we are going to have 4 lands down, have hit them for 4, and have Kodama and Bankbuster in play, which is a very, very nice start to the deck. And what I thought is, why bother trying to ramp with that? Why not use it as part of an aggressive strategy? I have been trying to get the Modify thing to work in this standard for a while, and I think Bankbuster may be the missing link that I've been looking for. So just to run through the rest of the deck and why this is going to be a good thing. So we are running 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan. This needs no real introduction, but just to run through, because I always say that, but just to run through why this is so good. 1 damage when you play it on turn 1. Next turn something gets buffed by 1, which is effectively 1 damage again. Let's say that creature gets in 1 more time, which would be an underestimate normally. It's at least 1 more damage this is doing, so that's already 2 damage for the card. And then exile it and bring us back a 2/2 that it doesn't even need this. If a creature dealt damage this turn by a source you control would die, exile it. So it gets rid of things for us and avoids death triggers to the opponent, which in a world where people are playing Serra, whatever it's called, the angel that lets them cast stuff from the graveyard, where people are playing AOs, where people are playing Ratted Rabbits, this is actually a worthy effect. So it's a 2 damage, so basically as good as a shock, plus you get a 2/2 out the end of it, which is just an extra body. It's just incredible value for 1 mana. It's great, obviously, if you play it on turn 1, but it's actually pretty good even if you play it later as well. When you've got 1 spare mana, you drop one of these down. You know you've got a creature coming back in 2 turns, which is nice if you're playing against things like sweepers, because they can sweep your creatures and you know you've still got sort of a creature in the bank that you don't have to pay for coming in later. We're running 4 of Ascendant Packleader, so this is a 2/1 for 1. It enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it if you control a permanent with mana value 4 or greater, which is one of these 6. And then whenever we cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, put a 1/1 on it. So 6 isn't huge, because obviously you could be playing this in like a rampy deck that plays 5, 6, 7 drops. However, this is a low curve aggressive deck, so this will probably only trigger its ability once or twice in a game at most. However, still a 2/1 for 1 is not bad. Counter synergy at all is nice in this deck, as being modified is our kind of theme. So yeah, it's basically the best 1-drop that we can put in this deck that isn't Kakkazan. We are running 4 of the Quirion Beastcaller. So this is the 2/2 from Dominaria. It's a 2/2 Dryad Warrior for 2. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it's got some counter synergy and obviously can build up quick in this deck that is largely creatures. We have 24 creatures, so there'll be a lot of creatures being played, and then when it dies, redistribute its 1/1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. This sounds like a brilliant ability, but doesn't actually come into effect that often. It's very rare that, let's say you put Beastcaller down on turn 2, if you play a creature, then a creature or so, and it's got a couple of counters on it, it's a 4/4. Often the only way it's dying is to board wipes anyway, i.e. you'll have no creatures left, or, it's being exiled by some exile effect. Anyway, I don't find that it happens that often. When it does, it's nice to be able to recycle the counters, but it doesn't happen lots. It has great synergy with Kodama. It's sort of as good as Bankbuster, really. If we play this on turn 2 and play this on turn 3, we've then got a 3/3 with Trample that we can swing with. Not quite as good as a 4/4, but not bad at all. The advantage of this one, obviously, is it leaves us with Kodama as a blocker if we need it, whereas we have to tap Kodama to attack with Bankbuster. But still, it's a pretty good synergy. So any of these 8 cards with any of our 4 Kodamas is a very nice turn 3 run out, especially if we start with Kumano. We're running 1 of Radha's Firebrand, so this was just to top our 2 costing creatures up so that we tend to have something to play on top of Kumano. Obviously we will have these as well, but yeah, I wanted to not be just on 6 creatures. I feel like it's slightly light to be following Kumano with, so I topped us up with 1 Radha's Firebrand. This could be better than the Adversary. I'm not sure. It could be that we should play 3 Adversaries instead. We're sort of this is our slight testing bit in the deck still, but basically because of the sort of counter synergy in the deck and being able to buff the Firebrand with both Halana and Alena and Thundering Raiju, and Kumano vs Kakkazan, it's sort of ability that means that the opponent can't block with something with power less than this is actually better than sort of standard of just being 3. So its power could be 4 or 5. We can really stop some big creatures from blocking. This is particularly useful if the opponent is playing something like Shieldred, which we can't really get through. So in that matchup I would probably run more of these. 2 Bloodthirsty Adversaries. The reason I'm only running 2, I would normally run 4 of in an aggressive sort of modified deck, is that I'm not actually running very many spells. We are only running 4 Strangles. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but yeah, I don't want to run 4 of these if there's going to be quite a lot of situations where I don't have any instants of sorceries in my graveyard. It takes away from this power quite a lot, but 2 I feel is the right number. About half of these for the number of instants and sorceries feels right to me. There's no stats or evidence behind that, it just feels right. For someone who plays a hell of a lot of aggressive red-based decks, I would say that's my evidence. We're running 4 Kodamas for what I've explained. This gives our creatures trample if they're modified and helps us pull lands out of the deck. Pulling lands out of the deck actually has a lot of value in this deck. The reason that we want lots of lands is A, we want to be able to tap our Bankbusters for extra cards. Extra cards means more to spend mana on as well, but also we've got adversaries that we can pay for as many times as we like. This is actually a place to dump our mana late game to just bring back more Strangles and clear the path for us. So I kind of like the drawing lands, even though it's a low curve deck. Getting lands out the deck means we don't draw them, and it means we've got them to spend on our Bankbusters. We've got 3 Briarbridge Tracker. This is obviously a 4/3 with Vigilance when it comes in, which is a great stat line as it is, but also it gives us a clue left behind for if we get board wiped or just if we need to keep drawing cards for any reason. So the more draw that we can put into a low curve deck like this, the better, and I think this fits in perfectly. Obviously this can also tap Bankbuster, that is a necessary prerequisite for our 3 drops. Concrude Bankbuster, I keep saying tap, Concrude Bankbuster, so yeah, it fits well, and it is just a very high win rate card in general. And then our 4 drops are all modification type cards. 3 Raijus, which is a 4/4 spirit, 3/3 spirit for 4. It has haste, and when it attacks you can put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. That's why I sometimes think of it as a 4/4. It's basically a 4/4 which you can take 1 of its power and put it somewhere else if you want. And it then deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures we control. So if we have powered up Bankbuster, if we have a Beastcaller and have cast another spell, if we have a pack leader in play, that will automatically be a modified creature, and if we have played a creature after Kakkazan. So there's all sorts of things that mean we can have modified creatures in this deck, not to mention the fact that we're also running 3 Halana and Alena partners, which has first strike and reach. It's a 2/3, obviously very weak to cut down, because if you get a 4-drop cut down, that feels really bad, I can tell you that much. But in general, this is our way to scale at all. It's our way to get over things like Shieldred, because it will grow out of the creatures. And the way it grows them is by putting counters on them, which again has synergy in the deck, hence why I'm running 3 of these. So there are plenty of counter-based synergies in the deck, plenty of grow your creatures and do better synergies in the deck. As I said earlier, I'm only running 4 Strangles, so that is kind of the weakness of the deck, if I was to pinpoint one. So we don't have removal for big creatures, or we don't have any exile outside of Kumano vs Kakkazan. So if the opponent plays something like a Shieldred, if they play a Defiler of Vigor, like a 6/6 trample on turn 5, that is going to cause some problems for us, and the only way to get through it is to attack with our creatures and then strangle afterwards. The idea really is that the opponent is dead by turn 6. We don't really want to be playing longer beyond that. We can win those games because of the drawing, grindy nature of the Bankbuster plus the clues from Tracker, but in an ideal world, the game is over by then, and we don't let them play the big creatures. That is why I'm only running Strangles. If I were to try to put some better burn or removal. For example, I think the one that you see in a few decks these days is this one, Rending Flame. It deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That obviously can deal with 2 more toughness than Strangle, but it costs you 2 more. And it's only really got a benefit against spirits. I mean, it is an instant as well, which could be nice, but for me, if I'm like on turn 3 and the opponent has played something with more than 3 toughness, I don't want to have to spend my whole turn removing it. I want to be able to play this, kill the thing with 3 toughness, let's say they've put their own Kodama or their own tracker, and then be able to play something else. I don't want to be like losing tempo, losing momentum, and that is why we're just running the Strangles here rather than any better removal. In the past, I've tried running the decks with higher quality removal. It just doesn't quite seem worth it. The reason we're running Strangle rather than, say, another like 1-drop red spell like Play with Fire or Flame Blessed Bolt, Play with Fire is just not enough damage to remove more things. That 3 toughness rather than 2 that we can remove with Strangle makes a difference, and often we're happy to remove it at sorcery speed. I don't need to be shooting their creatures on their turn. The fact that this can't go face is a small factor, but not enough for me to warrant swapping this to Play with Fire. And why don't I want Flame Blessed Bolt? Well, the same reason really, and we've got an exile effect with our 4 etching of Kumanos anyway, so this basically has the exile of Flame Blessed Bolt and then is, you know, as good apart from the instant speed. So, you know, I think this is just the best 1-drop red removal spell for this deck, and it is dependent on deck, but for this one, Strangle is the best. Anyway, I've talked on for too long now. I'm going to have some games in this video. It's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, it's going to be fun. Enjoy. Alright. Tulban. No green is no go, I think, with this deck. This is better. Thing is that my choice really is to bottom. I mean, if we'd have drawn this hand at opening, it would be brilliant, but we can either ditch our 3rd land or the Strangle. I think it has to be the Strangle here. Leave ourselves with a 1-2-3 curve and then hope there's no insane early threats from the opponent before we can draw another one. Start with Kakkazan. I mean, what a card this is. Every time I'm just like, how good is this card? Sadly, the Bankbuster doesn't play into it very well. We do have 7 2-drop creatures. We just don't always draw them, obviously. I mean, we've got quite good odds of drawing one in our opening hand, but green Fang of Shigeki. Interesting. Looks like we might be needing our draws of Bankbuster here. If we've got to sacrifice some creatures to get through this, I mean, a bit annoying. Alright. I don't think I want to sacrifice the Bankbuster attacking. Can keep it back as a blocker in case they attack with anything, or once we've cleared the way we can start attacking with it. A 1-drop for a 1-drop is fine. Mine's done 1 damage. Abzan. Don't see Abzan very often. Tear Asunder. Okay. What we'll do is attack with this and then we'll sack the clue, as we are going to be short on cards. I mean, during their turn. So we get 2 for next turn to play with, but it'll weaken this because we actually haven't got any other tokens. We don't have loads of tokens in this deck. In fact, we don't really have any. But the card is more important here, I think. I mean, this generates a token eventually. Let's just attack first. I'll probably play the Kodama because of the Kakkazan counter. 4/4, relatively difficult to remove. Tie counter, okay. Oh, destroy. No. Oh, they can change their mind. Didn't realise that. Guess we draw for it. I can play the Bankbuster this turn, fair enough. Avoid any chance of it being countered. So this is like a, not an Abzan, it's a 4-colour at least. More tear asunder. Too many people playing with Bankbusters clearly. And another land is not really what we want. Guess we just swing. They're down to 7. We'll hold on to this. I mean, it's pretty obvious it's a land, but why show them? We don't need it for anything at the moment. Great. Keep going. You never know, we might just get a free win from attacking with these 2/2s. Good opponent that's got tons of land as well. Yeah, farewell or something maybe. They just check their graveyard maybe to see. I don't know. Ah, Shigeki. They can exile the etching with that. If we find a 4-drop, we win because this will come 3/2. So we've got pretty good odds there. Oh my god. They gained life anyway. But what is this land spam? I do not get it. They can Shigeki again and get some more Terra Sunders back. I mean, got 3 Raijus in the deck that will just win us the game. Bloodthirsty Adversaries would win us the game. Just going to get back the Urborg Repossession, which they'll then play for 3, I suppose. No, just for 1. Just looping for life at the moment. Okay. I don't have anything in my graveyard that's helpful. But we can kick this twice. Make it a 4/4. See if they're willing to go to 1. Or whether they want to say wait and get their Shigeki back. They want to wait and get Shigeki back. They've got tons of land as well, but they've actually got a use for it with Shigeki. As long as they're not finding like a Titan or something to put in here. 2 mulches. Okay. So they can get back 2 cards. So, but they're, I mean, they're in some trouble. Yeah, they get this back. They're going to then get back Shigeki for 1, gain 2 life, and then they'll have to block and they'll have to chump with it. And then we'll get in for 2 anyway. Never mind. Game over. GG. Alright, we managed to push it through. It was going to be close to the opponent turning into a little value engine there, but we got there. Alright. Rasta. Russian Rasta, eh? This looks like a pretty nice hand. If we were on the play, I'd prefer it, but opponent's mulligans, so that's a nice sign. I don't like facing Esper as Gruul. Any deck colour combinations that've got tons of easy removal, it's not what I want to see. Siphon inside. What, in their own turn? Not that I was worried. Nothing was going to stop me playing my creatures, but that is an interesting card to see. I haven't seen that in a long time. I've never managed to make a good deck with that card, which implies to me that it isn't a good card. What good is that to you? I mean, it's obviously a great card in general. I think we'll go with the Beastcaller and Packleader here. Start the counters building up. That's some early game power. My dog eating a bone under the desk. Super noisy. Yeah, that's a big blocker, but to be honest, we don't really care. Just keep putting creatures, I think. They're gonna have to do something about these massive creatures, aren't they? I can't just get a good block in because too much damage coming down. Rhea. Hey. Oh, she's looking at giving me guilty dog eyes now because I'm trying to stop her from making a racket. Can you populate? I didn't expect that in a creature deck. Let's play this. And then we'll have this. Basically, I wanted to play a creature that I'll be able to attack with. Yeah, see, they can remove little creatures, whereas they can't remove this. I think we'll put Kodama away, just because this lets us draw a card. You haven't got a destroy for my Bankbuster, have you? Come on. They're not going to make me discard, are they? They're going to make me sack this, but I'll hold the mountain for when they do start making me discard. Just give me one of my hasty creatures and let this be over with. Don't give them one of my hasty creatures. Alright. What do we got? Firebrand. I should have done that in their end step, so that they can't make me discard it if they've got another removal for the Beastcaller. I just assumed they'd be minusing the Alena. But yeah, they might not need to. That was very silly by me. Now I need to top deck a creature. I mean, they're forcing themselves to discard a destroy. Bollocks. Got away with it. Unless that is... No, I haven't got any instant speed removal in my deck. Got away with it. It's a slightly tricky Gruul deck to play, but I'm learning. I'm learning. GG. Okay. I've removed my dog's bone. I just listened back to that last recording, and the grinding against the desk is so loud. Anyway. Hopefully it won't be as loud now. She's just doing it against the floor. This isn't an ideal starting hand, but got enough lands for the Raiju already. It'd be nice to draw a 2-drop, or at least something under a 3-drop here. Just another land, classic. We'll draw all of our cheap cards later, I'm sure. Samurai. I don't want them gaining lifelink, to be honest, so I think we'll get rid of that. And I want to get this ticking anyway. I did myself 1 damage, should do my opponent 1 damage. It's a bit silly, but yeah, don't want life gain. I hope this isn't a theme in their deck. It is. Life gain lands as well, really? Okay. Also, that was a ban search map, just because it gets them some of the colours they need, I suppose. Well, we've done 5 damage, but how much more life can they gain is the question. Extraction Specialist pulls back the Samurai, but this isn't. Neither of those are. Another target creature gains indestructible. Okay. So if they can sack that to give this indestructible, which means we wouldn't kill that. We'd only kill this, and this would get bigger. So if I attack with both of these, like so, I'll at least get 1 land. Okay, I'm glad they didn't double block and nobble the Raiju, so pull a couple of lands out, try and help us avoid drawing them. We're down to a 34% chance of drawing lands, so 7. Yeah, it's going to be hard to finish this game off with life linkers around, and there's going to be other ways of gaining life, and this thing's going to get too big to get through. I'm sure it will at some point. As I sort of, talked about, we've only got Strangle in the deck as removal, which isn't wonderful. I think we block it. This can't attack through the voice anyway. And we don't want to give them 2 opportunities to gain life with that card. Well, here, why am I getting so many lands? I want to look under this in case there's a Strangle there, but because this would be very, very nice to Strangle. Seriously? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 10 lands in 15 cards. Now we searched some of them up, but still, how the hell are we still drawing them? Life get like what? What is this? This is insane. I've never seen this. It's amazing we're still in this at all, to be honest. Don't really mind that, aside from the fact that it's life gain. That could be a problem. Yeah, well, I don't know how I'm going to win this. Oh. I've got this all the way down, like, how many, just to count here, 9, 12, yeah. 12 lands in the top, well, not in the top, but in 17 cards. No wonder we lost. GG. I mean, you can't win if you don't get any playables. Alright. Let's see if we can draw a little bit better. Alright. I've seen worse. Let's hope they're a creature deck. Crystal Grotto probably means that they are. Yeah, nice. Get rid of that now. Then we'll get our adversary down. We're using our go first advantage here. Prowler is outside of Strangle range, sadly. So we're going to have to just attack and then Strangle. We don't want them having the ramp off of the Prowler anyway. This is clearly a Defiler of Vigor deck. Augur is okay. Although it can't, this Beastcaller can't get through at the moment, but if the Defiler comes down, we're in a bit of trouble because our creatures aren't big enough. Ooh. And they're definitely not big enough to get through that. I think we'll have to power this up. And then attack with everything. And then hope that they don't block the 3/3 with the Silverback. That's pretty good, I think. Because they would be relying on that being alive next turn. Sadly, I don't get to keep my Bankbuster, but yeah, good. Fast enough not to need to keep it. GG. Okay. Window. Not windows, thankfully. The land doesn't quite work with the Beastcaller, but we'll keep it. We have an opportunity to draw an untapped green. I think we just go for this first. I don't want to not have green on turn 2 with this combination available. Sorry, Kumano, but the land has not allowed you. Yeah, we still didn't get it. I want to use the Strangle on the Jukai Naturalist. There he is. I knew he was coming along. Very fast start from the opponent. Look at that aggro. 6/6 trample on turn 3. Can't even kill it, so I think we strangle this, unfortunately. And then do this. Because strangling that takes away one of their damage from this as well. That one's not enough to do it. That would have been such a nice start if that had been within second strangle range, but borrowed time for the Beastcaller, presumably. So let's put this in, as it has the potential to get our other creatures big if it's got the Kumano counter on it. We are going to have to take a hit off this, so, or if there's more exile, we're just in general trouble. They can't play 2 more enchantments at least. No. Alright. Let's get rid of this. Bit nervous about attacking with any more than that, just due to them having a 6/6 trampler and us having 2 life, but getting in for 7 is no small feat. And our creatures should grow fast now. Gonna force a trade. Okay, I mean they're just gonna get exiled thanks to Kumano, which is an advantage. because normally they'll be able to get that back repeatedly. Let's draw out of this first. No, this is better. Just attack with the 1, I think. We'll be safe. Seven land. That's fine. Ganjo's doing nothing for them now. They can get back their Naturalist next turn, but as it stands, they're not going to get it next turn. They need some exile. So we got Trample, and our creatures are growing at a rate. What you got, Window? Temporary lockdown. That just takes out the Kumano. Nah, not good enough, I'm afraid. Have 1 damage. That is, yeah, had a potential to do something good to us, but GG. That tracker, the damage off of it is so high. And the lovely thing is it can't be Wandering Emperor, but yeah, managed to outpace that. I mean, it looked bad at the start, but look at the recovery of Halana and Alena. Beautiful. And the next one, Retro Killer. The win rate of this deck is insane. So, nothing to Strangle on turn 1, so we'll get our tap land down. Tap land for them. Alright, let's get this party started. Don't have removal for my Beastcaller, and we're happy. Oh, slow turn. You're not going to want to do many slow turns. Well, you must have something on turn 3. Jelly cards. Can't stop touching these. Love it. What? That was curious. They can't have not had any plays on turn 3, but then don't get it. It didn't time out, did it? No. Very unusual. So we've got 8, 10, 11 plus 2. With 13 damage on board here. If we are so allowed, which we are, put the counter here. Let's put 1 extra damage. Missed 1 damage, which was that counter as well. Opponent might just be having a nap. But they are clicking every now and then. Okay, they have got something. I think it's just a bit of a late game deck, looking at the fact that they're running Herd Migration, and that isn't what you want against this. They could have a board wipe. Yep. Board wipe's nice against the Beastcaller. Attack with this, which puts them on 2. Could have more removal, board wipey type stuff. Destroy evil, yeah. Can we get 2 more damage in? There's 1 more. So I suggest we play this, as it can't really be removed. Well, it can, but it's hard. And this, which Just 1 damage and a creature in future in case there are board wipes or other annoying removal. Not to mention putting them on 1. I was just saying how this is hard to remove. They've then removed it. Don't see many main deck braids these days. 3 life back. They're doing well. Clinging on. Maybe I was complacent. Okay. So we can put both creatures out. They need another board wipe probably. But if they do, we've still got the Kakkazan, so I do think it's worth playing both. Since they are running spot removal, quite a lot of it. And this does get hit by Destroy Evil. But they've got even more spot removal. I guess the point of this deck is just get to play, actually play Herd Migration, maybe? They could in theory, oh no, they're tap planned. Perhaps they could play it this turn. Get a whole bunch of 3/3s. Another Leyline Binding. Goodness. Well, we've got our Kumano token. Which we will try attacking with. Don't know if there's any more Leyline Bindings in hand. There are. It's kind of good because it means they hopefully won't have a Herd Migration. Alright, this is literally an entire deck of Destroy. Oh, nice to have the Sokenzan even now. Yeah. Save up my Strangles for when we have to face off against 5 3/3s. Okay, let's see if we can get in for 2. I think it's very unlikely, but you never know. For the 4th Leyline Binding in the top 20. Ay ay ay. The Cameo War. Goodness. Okay. Is there anything with haste under here? No. I mean, I could get back a Kumano for 1 damage. But we're probably best removing this, aren't we? All my Raijus have gone in the bin. Well, 2 or 3. Come on. Maybe I should have got one of these. All they could have done is bounce it to my hand, which they wouldn't want to do because they'd be on 1. Well, this can come back. I wonder if they've got another Abrade in hand. Any creature on top? It is, but not one I can play immediately. Get rid of this again. Gone exile this time. Let's see if they've got any instant speed removal in their 3 cards. They probably have. Oh, GG. At last. GG. God, yeah. Oh my god, the last remaining Raiju got us there, but that was a long one. Alright. I mean, a little spoiler on the stats so far. We've won a lot. We've won a lot with this deck. This is a very nice hand on the play as well. We seem to win even when we don't get the nice hands, so that's what I quite like about this deck. Unless I get completely flooded or completely land screwed, then we do well. Cabaretti Courtyard. Maybe another life gain deck. or possibly another 5-colour deck. And not a land you see around often. You see the Riveteers one quite a lot for the soul. Always nice playing this out of cut down range, even like against white. You're like, at least I can't be cut down. I can be played with fire though. Played with fire? Played with fire? I don't know. Or Flame Blessed Bolted. That's reduced the damage we're putting out significantly. That is a nice card for us to see because it's slow. Take that out of play with fire range. Green, I suppose. I only got 5 lands out of the deck this game. The last thing we want is a Wandering Emperor. And since they are passing the turn back to us, that feels like the most likely. I mean, we have to attack anyway. At least we're going to get the attack trigger with Raiju. Put the counter here to try and make them exile that, if that is what they're doing. Since we have a backup. Destroy evil. Whatever we put the counter on would have been destroyed, so... Okay, we're definitely going all in with our creatures here. Now comes the board wipe. No, Bankbuster. So they're going to have a 2-2 at the end of this turn. But that's not enough to save them. Especially not with 2 more 1-1s. GG. They had lots of answers again, but there's too many threats with this deck. Okay, I'm going to do play to lose, so this means we'll lose this game. Whenever we do play to lose, we lose. This is alright, as long as we're against the creature deck. Opponent's mulligan, that's nice, and again. I don't mind seeing mulligans so much in standard when you're playing in, alright. I'm not going to count that one, but it's a victory. Next game. We've got Bankbuster into Kodama, followed by Strangle, and we're on the draw, so this could be alright. Crispy. Ooh, I haven't seen these before. I thought it was a bowling alley at first. I thought these were bowling balls, you know, when they're coming back towards you down the shoot thing in the middle. But no, just eyeballs in a gutter that goes into a giant eyeball. I mean, what is there not to like about this sleeve? Anyway. Come on, Crispy. I don't need any more free wins. I mean, on this video alone, I've nearly gained, what, 5%? 4%? I don't know, on the Mythic rating. Gonna get me all the way back up into the numbers, this one. This is the problem with being a streamer, is that I have to try and come up with some new stuff, you know, because you normally also just see someone run Esper mid-range Rafine decks all day, every day in videos. That's boring. So in experimentation, I always play it on the ladder because A, I don't really believe in playing off the ladder. Like, I don't want to just play strong things on the ladder because it's just cheesing your position. But B, unless you're playing against real opponents that you would be playing against, it's not the same. Like, for me, if I play in the play queue, I could play a deck that will win 0 games on ladder and still win. So, like, yeah, it has to be played on ladder, really, as an experiment. If you're trying, like, to see how effective a combo or something is, I understand using the play queue. But if it's just, you know, I think these cards are good, let's put them all together and build a deck, then that's not really something for the play queue, in my opinion. Pretty much always play on ladder. And that's why my rating gets a bit battered sometimes. I mean, 1 month I might see how high I can get it, because I've never really done that since I started recording stuff. I've always, you know, tried to see, make interesting new fun decks, but I think if I was to try and get as high as possible, I'd have to find a deck maybe like this one where I get a huge win percentage. I mean, this one at the moment is 91, but I think it will end up down in the high 60s, low 70s. Take something like this and then you know, just try and play like 250 games of it and see how high we can get. Oh man, is it another opponent just timing out? I mean, I'm being blessed. Oh no, about the same, just being blessed with like opponents timing out. It was all a tactic, wasn't it, Crispy? You were just trying to make me think you weren't there so that I would go as well, and then you'd come back and quickly play some turns whilst I'm timed out. I know what you're like. I think the nice thing about this is, especially not when you're not against black, no one sees this as a massive threat. Like, so they'll swing with their 1/1 that they don't care about getting in for 1 damage really. They're just doing it because they think, well, we're not taking damage ourselves. So, but if they thought they were taking damage and giving us a land, they might feel differently. I mean, they've got mana open, and obviously this would have trample anyway. So this particular creature, less so, you know, with the example. Am I going to be made to disappear? That would be very sad. I would be very sad if I got made to disappear. No, good. Obviously they could remove Kodama before we connect for damage. Or they could kill the Bankbuster. I mean, forcing them to use removal on the Bankbuster it's not great because we want it there for cards, but out of all the games I played in this video, how many times have we sat there tapping these? I think once. Most of the time it's just there as a 4/4 attacker with trample. Gonna let me get in? Yeah. We're gonna take another red land because of the Raijus plus Strangle. We only 3 red and we've got a forest in hand. Being able to connect with that is so nice. It's like, okay, now I'm on the play. What are you gonna do? Yeah, you've got your dog. I've got mine. She's sleeping on my feet now. Okay, Kodama down. But it's done his work. Ramped us once. What more can I ask? I could get it. I could Packleader. I think that's what we're going to do, because this will have a counter on it when I play this, and we can then attack with, yeah, this is much better. I don't know why I didn't see this before, to be honest. Now we've got 2 modified creatures, and we've managed to attack with 8 rather than just the 4 I was going to do. That is a sweet little play path there. I'll have to remember that one. If you've got 5 land, a Packleader and a Raiju with a Bankbuster down, that is some serious damage. The fact this always counts as a modified creature with Raiju and with Kodama is just so nice. Imagine if we still had our Kodama alive. Just imagine. They'd have done something else, put another creature in the way, but still. Having these Strangles now remaining and Raiju in hand is sweet. Even if we get board wiped, I feel quite confident. This has to be a creature-ish based deck, because, well, maybe not. This is what makes me question what this deck is. Alright, that gets rid of those 2, but I'm not sure that that's going to get you there. Good night. We play till lose. Takeshi's Castle. That's a right challenge for us then. We have to assail Takeshi's Castle on the draw. A no-sleeve Takeshi nonetheless. Well, double Beastcaller is pretty aggressive. humans. I wonder if it's 5 colour or... It's either 5 colour or Naya humans. Both are pretty strong. We will need some of our Strangles for sure, because they will have things like that. Yeah. That is not a Strangle. As much as I would like to play this for the land, I think we have to play this to get them both rolling, and we need to be able to get this down. What's my odds of drawing a Strangle? 8%. Not that high. God, they can give this thing haste. No, they didn't. Oh, they could still, yeah. And it's a 9/7 with lifelink. I mean, I actually don't know if we can win now. This is going to be the end of the video. Unless we draw a Strangle pronto. Because I could then maybe flash it back with this. I can't even smork through this ridiculous lifelink. 4/5. Yeah, I think we're done. GG. There's the loss. Had to happen eventually. Okay, just a very quick look at the stats of this deck. I mean, as you saw in the video, we really didn't lose very much. I have now played 14 games with this deck in Mythic. Granted, lowish Mythic in the low 90s, but an 86% win rate over 14 matches is not to be sniffed at. I mean, 75% against mono white. The only one of those we lost was the one where we flooded out in the video, as you saw, and the only one that I lost was that absolute fire start from Naya humans when they were on the play. So I don't think any deck's going to beat that, or it's going to be very hard, maybe if you're running sweepers or whatever. But yeah, this is the one that we lost. Every other game was quite an easy victory. Now, one of them was a free win, which was this one, and I think one of them, maybe this mono green, no, one of them was a cheap win. But anyway, still 86% over 14. You don't get that through luck. This deck is effective, and look at the steep curve. This is me trialing decks. This is me finding the one. This is the one that I'm going to use to get back up into the numbers in Mythic and try and end above 1200 at the end of the month. I suggest that you use it too. If you do have any thoughts about improvements to the deck, because there are some small bits that can be changed, the Firebrand Adversary ratio, the actual numbers of things like 3 trackers, I don't know if that's quite right, etc. But if you have any thoughts about the deck or ways to improve it, I would love to hear them. If you've played anything similar, I would love to know about it. Please do let me know. But otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.